What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Shred Show live with me, Josh Pitts. And you guys know him. You've all heard him. He's been on the show before. He's one of my favorite guests because Eddy Perez. So if you guys don't know, for the last couple of days, we've been coming here live from the headquarters at Equity Prime Mortgage. They've had their first annual exchange, which we're going to talk about here. They've done some great events in the past, but they've brought their entire...
We've morphed it a little bit.
Yes, big time. And that's why I say first annual, because you guys have done a lot of things in the past. Yeah. We're going to talk about servant leadership. We're going to talk about leadership because, as everybody knows, I travel the country. I get to go to incredible organizations. And Eddy, I've seen from afar Equity Prime, and I've dealt with Eddy in the past, and I've dealt with a lot of his team members. But Eddy, I have to say, huge shout out to you, to KP, to what you guys are doing here, because now being here at headquarters, you truly have built something special.
Thank you.
It is one of those
work
things,
of many. As I always say, the blood, sweat of many.
And 100%, but that's just it. Is you and KP, the leadership here, they're all about your team. It's not just you guys. It's not just like, look at us, this is how amazing we are. But you made a comment yesterday that literally like...
It's going to cause some rips around here.
Totally is. Like, servant leadership is kind of an oxymoron. It's kind of BS in the way
it is.
It honestly is. So I want to talk about the leadership. Some of the things that you guys are doing. I mean, you guys received an incredible award at NBA that you and I have already talked about. But you guys are doing such phenomenal things for your culture, for your team. You said this that leadership is almost like more like fatherhood than anything else. And
well, it goes on to look. I'm not one to judge people, but when people say I'm a servant leader, the definition of leadership is that you're serving others, and more importantly, you're making other people successful.
Exactly.
So saying you're a servant leader is kind of like I always go back to. I love Chris Rock, one of my favorite comedians, that said, I have friends that brag about being a good father. There's nothing to brag about. You're supposed to be. I'm a servant leader. You're supposed to be. So that's where I laughed, and when one of the speakers said it yesterday, I said, absolutely. I mean, I think it's just... what can I say? I think it's what you're supposed to do. It's just a part of it.
And it is a part of it, but that's how you see leadership. That's just something you're supposed to be doing. That's not like, oh yeah, I've got to go above and be like, that's just who you are. That's who Eddy Perez is to your core.
Yep.
And I've watched you interact with your, I don't even want to say employees, because you said something this morning too. Their family. You truly spend more time with a lot of these people here at the office than we do with family sometimes.
Yep.
And I don't think a lot of us even think about that, but we really do spend a ton of time with these people. They're family.
And that's why you got to have fun with them. I mean,
hold on. I don't mean to interrupt, Eddy, but you want to talk about fun? You guys have some fun here. I mean, you guys, they joke around with each other. This is one of those environments that like, holy cow. Sometimes it's probably good they don't have HR on staff all the time, but I'm just kidding. But you guys are family here.
Yeah, well, it's one of those, you spend so much time with your family. We're very fortunate as an industry that we get to make people homeowners. It's one of these very empowering things. So there's going to be tough, there's going to be deadlines, but you got to laugh, you got to enjoy. You got to even joke around with each other. It's like I said to you, we're more like a crew, we're more like a sister brotherhood. A lot of people use the word team, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's really about fit and what works, because I've seen people that have, and I'm very proud to say that they say, wow, I didn't fit in my last place. I may have had success, but here I've had more success because I actually feel like I belong. And as some people say that's cliche or cheesy, but that's just, they feel that way because we're just, two LOs that started with $1,000 and opened up our broker shop, and here we are today. That's at the core of us.
What's crazy, too, is I was actually talking to KP earlier today, kind of about, because it was 11 years ago, you guys started this together, and it's been a roller coaster ride for you guys. Like, that's at the bare minimum of what it's been. But you guys have grown something so exceptional here. Do you ever look back, 11 years later, do you ever look back and, like, pinch yourself? I'm like, holy cow, like, we created this together. We did this.
Just a lot of thank yous, especially... unfortunately, sometimes for the people that left because we did bad things that they didn't agree with. And I mean bad like in they don't agree with what we did or how we led a certain style. But more importantly, very humbled when they've come back, because in the end they said, you guys always did do the right thing. Maybe I didn't agree, or maybe that we didn't understand. But just very eternally just grateful at this point, just very thankful, just very appreciative. And more importantly, just working every day, because what's been great about this conference of ours here is, you see, what's my client is different than a lot of them out there. They're dealing directly with the consumer. They're dealing directly with the referral partners. I have to build the environment and lead the environment that is very conducive. But, my clients are yourself, my employees, their referral partners, our relationships, our broker community. That's how I view it. So I'm like, hey, how can I make them a super fan? That's what's going to be more important, is how do I make them a super fan? So my client is a little bit different than theirs, but I'm glad that we can all harmonize it together.
You mentioned something where you guys have literally had people leave and come back, and we heard from one of those people yesterday, and I even talked to him off camera once when we were actually at Topgolf, and I asked him about his comment. I'm like, hey, you left and you came back, why? And he was talking about, one of the things he said, he's like, Eddy and KP are incredible leaders. Like, I left for a certain reason, but I came back because they changed. You mentioned humility. Like, that's a true, you want to see a true leader. They're willing to listen to what others are saying. Yeah. They're willing to make changes when necessary and to admit mistakes. Like, we all make mistakes.
And that's why he left. He felt like, I'm not proud of this, but he felt like he wasn't valued with me and that he was letting me down, which unfortunately he wasn't, but I had done a crappy job of not. And today, through a lot of leadership training, constant evolution, but more importantly, just the fundamental thing that I learned years ago that I haven't applied, that I do vigorously today, is I try to listen till my ears bleed. That's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard, because it's kind of like what I shared earlier today is it may take an hour, it may take 2 hours, it may take 30 minutes. But then you sum up the pain behind the pain, and then you just highlight it in a sentence at the end, and then people are like, holy crap. That's it.
And that really is. And to me, again, watching from afar, but then actually coming in and seeing everything that you guys are doing here, it's so impressive to me. And you guys continue to grow, continue to flourish. And so I want to talk about that, because you guys continue to make changes. And like you said, you've been humble enough to make certain changes to build the organization, not just to build you as a leadership team.
No.
To improve the entire team, entire family here at Equity.
Sure. Well, it goes down to the consumer. And I never forget the days of the crash. A lot of people don't talk about it. I take this industry very, very sacred. And it goes back to my childhood, because it's some of my first memories with my father, because my dad had a construction company, and, we talked about it today, like first leadership. Yeah. And I got to see residential home buying. I got to see the benefit of it. Being first generation born in this country, I got to see that home as a center place. It's a place you really go to rest. So it's just been part of the journey. It's just been, so it's really to make sure consumers are taken care of, and from different angles, and make sure that they're getting served correctly. Because like I say, I remember what we were getting called. I remember that it was probably easier to say that you were, a used car salesman or some of those derogatory terms than saying I was in the mortgage business. Because the look that I got, I'm never going to forget that. That's not something that you can forget. Even though I was very proud, and I'm not saying there weren't bad actors and there was bad people, but I knew at its core, we're still 25% of the world's largest economy. If you separated real estate and its services, and we're the backbone, but because we're the ones providing the finances in commercial, in all sorts, in business, in commercial, in residential. So really, real estate finance is at the core of that. If you broke us away, we'd be the fourth largest economy. America would be 1, China would be 2, Japan would be 3, and we'd be number 4, just our services. So to know that the capabilities that we have and the responsibility that we have is what drives me to make sure that we never go back to those awful days.
And I think as leaders, it's up to us to be able to guide organizations, to help organizations to steer clear of that, because you went through it. You can, ladies and gentlemen, the emotion is palpable. Here in the room, you can probably feel it, but you can, as Eddy talks about that, those who were in the industry through those times, none of us want to go back to that. No. We want to make sure, we as leaders want to make sure our organizations never have to experience that again, because how many were affected, and all the people, you look around the office, you look at today at the exchange, all these people that are here, that's on you. That's a big deal.
And I think, Gary Vee said it best. I'm a big fan of Gary Vee. When you're a leader, you're at the bottom. Especially when you're at the shareholder where I'm at, it's really, I got to report up to them, and I got to really think about them, and I got to really think what's in the best interest. And a lot of times you say, hey, unfortunately we're doing this, or you explain the reason, or here's where we're going. I hear you can add this little wrinkle, can add this twist, but it's really that responsibility that drives it, that you have to really stick to your guns.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That you have to. So grateful for the opportunity to sit down with you, Eddy. As always,
my pleasure,
and I
man.
Have so much fun.
Yeah,
you were doing, like I said, I cannot give you enough kudos and shout out for the family that you've built here at Equity Prime. It's been so much fun. By the way, we went golfing last night. You brought your son along. Like,
yeah.
Your son came right along and just.
My kids love
in.
this place. So many people, and look, that as a leader, like, look, man, as any parent out there, if the folks here embrace your children and they say come here, it's the least I can do is ask them about theirs, ask them about challenges they're having. But man, he had a blast and everybody was hanging out with him, and the coolest part is he just ran off, and it's not like I had to like, hey son, let me do this and all that. So that just goes down to who we are as an organization, who we serve. Like I say, as our clients are very important, and in my case, what I have to represent, my clients are my employees, the brokers that we serve, and making sure that the environment is conducive to their clients, which is borrowers and referral partners. And then I'm very serious about our vendor partners, because they are very vital. If I didn't have credit bureau industry, if I didn't have Encompass, if I didn't have all these things that are really there for us, yourself, that's just part of the team. That's part of the crew. It's just what I value in all them, and I enjoy it because look, we got to have a lot of fun here, and we're still gonna have fun tonight. I mean, it's gonna be great, and we're celebrating. And so like I said earlier, we spent a lot of time together. I don't see any negatives.
No, absolutely not. Guys, Eddy is truly one of those leaders in our industry, and clearly here at Equity Prime that continues to go above and beyond. Not a servant leader. That's just who you are. Like, that's who we need to be. That is an oxymoron that we have to move away from. Yeah, but I'm truly grateful to have you, to be able to be here and experience this. I appreciate the invitation. And guys, if you don't have a leader like Eddy in your organization, if you're not happy, talk to your leaders. I love how Eddy has mentioned that a couple times. Like, you have an open door. We were literally talking before we got on.
It's a glass
door. People can see in. They, if you're on the phone, you're busy, but you have an open door policy. If people want to come talk to you, they can come talk to you. So, which is so cool to me. Hopefully, you're in an organization that does the same. If not, you got to find more leaders like Eddy. So, Eddy, thank you so much for your leadership.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for appreciating it, and always a pleasure.
Oh man, always, guys. As always, we appreciate you. We love you. Make sure you show up. You hustle. You repeat every day. See you guys.
Take care.
That was